Mario Kart, while it didn't invent the kart racing genre, it most certainly popularized it. With such a long list of legendary installments, where could possibly be better to start than the very beginning? Super Mario Kart, while outdated now, was actually pretty impressive back in the day. I mean, it's still kind of impressive now considering they sort of emulate a 3D space on the Super Nintendo. The SNES's famed Mode 7 allowed for 2D textures to be rotated and scaled in such a way that creates the illusion of 3D perspective. In Super Mario Kart, Mode 7 was used to render these 2D racetracks as though they had depth and perspective, whilst the characters and obstacles, as you can tell, are just simple 2D sprites. This technique was groundbreaking at the time and, yeah, frankly, still kind of impressive in retrospect. It works pretty well. It does its job, but often you can simply just dip into holes in the terrain or holes in fences or just the items that are scattered across the track because, as you can probably tell, the visuals get a little bit muddy here and there. But honestly, all in all, it's really not that bad. You get used to it pretty quick, and considering it's technically not an actual 3D space, I rarely misjudge the distance of turns and stuff. Depth perception isn't a huge problem in this game. No, I just bang into the walls because of the controls instead. Now, feel free to hit the comments and tell me I suck at this game because I do, but get me on any modern Mario Kart and I'll wipe the floor with 99% of people. It's just that this particular Mario Kart's controls are peculiar. They're not bad, they just aren't quite as buttery smooth as the modern entries. Drifting became a staple later on in the series, but in Super Mario Kart, it's basically useless. Most of the time it just feels imprecise and you don't even get a boost from it either, so that risk to reward is not even present in this game. Most of the time just easing off the gas and turning slower turns out to be faster. Even sometimes driving over rough terrain can be a little bit faster than taking that wide turn. And let me reaffirm, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. The controls are just different, and, you know, when you take a tight turn and you just curl around a bend without clipping into the wall, it still feels just right, just like any other Mario Kart. The tracks, 20 in total, 4 cups, 5 tracks each. Now, this doesn't actually mean there are 20 unique tracks, more like 7 templates and 1 particularly colourful outlier. Donut Plains 1 through 3, Mario Circuit 1 through 4, Ghost Valley 1 through 3, Choco Island 1 and 2, Cooper Beach 1 and 2, Bowser Castle 1 through 3, and Vanilla Lake 1 and 2. Any tracks which share the same name, look the same, and tend to have the same types of obstacles. Just a different layout. The amount of tracks is kind of underwhelming when you realise a good chunk of them are visually the same as that one you played 5 minutes ago. That itself is not the issue. You want to know what the issue actually is? Now, this doesn't affect every track, it primarily plagues the later ones, but because of the less precise controls and the kind of funky visuals, obstacles can be more obstacle-y at times, and some of these obstacles are just downright obnoxious. These little square blocks of snow that stop you dead in your tracks, and you can hit several in a row. The thwomps on the Bowser stages that flatten you for like a whole 10 seconds. I mean, the other races, for fuck's sake, man. You could get knocked into the water and you'd be able to go and have a bath yourself before Lakitu decides to pull you out, man. This is a thing in pretty much every Mario Kart, but in this game, it's especially frustrating because the game just feels a bit less balanced than the more modern entries. I don't want to give the impression that I'm not a fan of this game, because I am. It's fun enough to revisit from time to time to ogle at what was once considered a technical marvel. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still Mario Kart, and it still feels like Mario Kart at its core. Lining up green shells and then hitting yourself with it. Whatever the fuck this is. The music, though. Nintendo never misses with the music. This soundtrack is spectacular. It's Mario Kart. Very stripped down, and it needs a little bit of oil to grease up those stiff hinges, but it's Mario Kart. And, it's still a good time. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.